Hey everybody, aloha, I'm Natalie. Welcome to Life After a Cult, the channel where we expose cult nonsense, laugh about the absurdities, and we hopefully unbrainwash ourselves in the process. Scientology is in trouble again after decades of coverage abuse. There we go. Myself is in my ear. I'm interrupting myself, I swear. So, like I was saying, after decades of covering up abuse, they're now facing legal consequences for violating mandatory reporter laws, mandated reporter laws. There is so much coming out about this right now. We're going to look at multiple clips and even an article about that. There's consequences for violating these, and Scientology needs to be held accountable there. We're also going to take a look at Jared Leto's mysterious island retreat, and some say bizarre following and are saying, is it a cult? Is it a high control group? What is it? I don't know. We're going to look at it. I just know they do wear a lot of white. Not that that's totally a sign, but a guy in a robe. And anyways, we're going to look at that. We're going to look at that. Welcome in, everybody. Aloha to you. Thank you to the moderators so much. I see you members in the chat. Thank you for being here, and everybody in the live chat. And welcome if you're on the replay. Jump into those comments. We want to hear from you too. I'm glad that you're here. Our first story that we're going to talk about here, let's see. We need to go to the underground bunker for this one. I think I actually have two from the underground bunker. So is everybody ready? Let's go in the bunker. Back in the bunker. I need sound effects for that. I'm working on it. Hold on. I got to adjust the menopause fan. That's just not hitting me right. Oh, there we go. Okay. Gotta love it. You just gotta love being a woman in her 50s. My glasses are fogging from my hot flash. Let's get into this article here. So, Scientology's David Miscavige may be coming to party in your town soon. This is specifically about the supposed Ideal Org opening in Puerto Rico. So if anyone is here from Puerto Rico, you might want to let your family know to gird their loins, because Scientology is saying they're making progress on their Ideal organization in Buenos Aires. Here is a graphic of the things they're working on so they can open, and it's organizing files, basically. Division 4 PC is pre-clear folders. These are the folders that every Scientology organization keeps about an individual, about their everything that comes up in a Scientology auditing session, pretty much. And you can let your imagination run away with you there to know what comes up. Division 6 pre-clear folders, those are new people. So these are the files of dirt that Scientology keeps on new people. There's files for students. There's central files, which is if you ever bought a book or something in Scientology. That files. Scientology has tons of files, and they're working on it. So this is all tied to having them open up their Ideal organization. And supposedly they're claiming they're pulling the ribbon in only 2 months, which I think is crazy. But we'll see. They're going to be doing a lot of all hands in Scientology. Some people are going to be staying up late working on these files. You can see this is the building a little over a month ago. And then this is the building more recently. Then there's a Scientology rendering we're going to look at here. This is what it's supposed to end up looking like. It looks like they might have made some changes to the design, but you can see there. And again, this is in Puerto Rico. What they're going to be doing, opening the Ideal organization. And so again, if you know people in Puerto Rico, maybe give them a heads up. Hey, Scientology is there, very small. Christy, it's your 60th birthday? That said Christy, right? Not Kirsty. That said Christy. Oh my goodness. It is. Oh, we got to do a birthday break. Where's my birthday? Everybody. Happy birthday to Chris. All together.
Happy birthday to you.
Christy.
Happy birthday to you.
Christy.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Christy. Audrey, happy birthday to you. And what a big birthday. I'm honored that you're here with us on your 60th. That's fabulous. If you're in the live chat, even on the replay, drop some happy birthday, some partying, some cake, some flowers, some emojis, some aloha for Chrissy's birthday. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. All right, moving on from the underground bunker and what's happening in Puerto Rico, we're just going to touch on a little bit about this Jared Leto story. We talked about this a little bit before some time ago. I don't know if you guys remember, but I saw this and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? What's happening? Is Jared Leto starting a cult? Did he already start it? Did I miss it? We're going to take a look at a clip from a video from Tell Us More is the YouTube channel who put this together. Check it out.
To a man when thousands of women start treating him like a god. Does he reject it? Does he embrace it? Or does he abuse it? Most people know Jared Leto, the actor, a talented performer whose obsessive nature sometimes makes him take things too far.
And that is a thing. This video even talks about how he does method acting. And in watching this, I'm like, I can see how that might have pushed him over into potentially, kind of some cult mentality. Let's finish watching that.
There's no Jared Leto, the musician, a charismatic frontman whose larger-than-life persona blurs the lines between art and self-glorification. But a small group of his most loyal fans know Leto as something else, a leader. They call themselves the Echelon. They gather on private islands, dress in all white, and treat his performances almost like religious experiences.
Now, to be honest, I mean, sometimes I feel like music can be a religious experience in ways, but it's there's a few, I mean, my cult senses are going off a bit. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me in the live chat, jump in the chat on the replay. What do you think?
And they insist with proud smiles that outsiders just wouldn't understand.
That outsiders wouldn't understand, creating an us versus them mentality is a little sus.
When you're on top of the world, the rules start to feel different. The boundaries that govern normal behavior can begin to blur. Jared Leto has always pushed the envelope with his acting. For Dallas Buyers Club, he starved himself to lose 30 pounds and refused to break character as a trans woman for weeks,
Not unusual for actors.
Crew members treat him as female even when the cameras weren't rolling. For Chapter 27, he gained 67 pounds to play John Lennon's killer.
I didn't know that. I didn't see that. I got to go check that out. So pause for Andrea's like, yeah, it's a cult. It's a cult. Yeah, there are some red flags. Definitely. I'm like, I will get nervous. I don't like when everybody has to dress the same. Now, I will be the first to admit that I'm probably very sensitive when it comes to that could be a cult. Given my background, you guys might not have heard this, but I grew up in the cult of Scientology and left with 3 generations of my family. Shocker. Audrey, exactly. Cults are so prevalent. It really is. And I think it's really important for people to understand how these come about, what the signs are, what to watch for, and how you can maintain a healthy relationship between you and whether the organization or the high control group, if it starts becoming that, that you can keep an eye on that, which is why I love talking about it. Brian from A Poet says Jared Leto definitely has a few screws loose. He is eccentric, that is for sure. And in a lot of ways, I think it's what makes him a good actor. But this kind of, behavior and stuff does make me go, What about you guys? Is it giving cult? Maybe not. Sweet Goth, good to see you. I'm friendly with one of his old band members that left when it started to get weird with Jared. Ooh, girl, tell us more. So there were people near him then that sounded like they were like, hey, this could be a cult. This could be a cult. C.O. Bilf, has anyone had wins on Jared's bridge? I wonder if they have one, an exact list, because in Scientology, there, of course, is the bridge to total freedom, or to total bankruptcy, or to getting rid of your family. If you really hate your family and you want to get rid of them, you might want to join Scientology. All you got to do is let your Scientology registrar or recruiter know, hey, my whole family, all of them, not down with Scientology. They will quickly have you disconnect and give you the tools to do that. If Scientology was honest about it and they were just like, yeah, you don't like your family, we'll help you disconnect from them, I feel like a few people might actually join. Come for the disconnection, stay for the cultiness. Hey, Aaron, growing up in Scientology, welcome. What do you think? I think the Jared Leto cult thing is like very, very possible. Very possible. It just sounds strange. And I want to know more. If you guys see anything about it and actually anything cult related Scientology, you can always email me, Natalie at lifeafteraccult.com. Now we're going to go take a look at something that I did not think that I would see. I just feel like, okay, let me be real for a minute. 2025 did not start off exactly the way like I think that many of us thought it would go. Maybe it's just me because I was like 2025 is going to be my year. It felt like 2020 all over again. You remember 2019? 2020 is going to be my year. And then we were all locked inside. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. At the same time, there are some amazing things happening. And I'm going to lean into that. And it's still, we are just March 1st here. And I do think that 2025 is going to be an amazing year in many ways. And some of that we're going to talk about here with the stories that we're going to go over. This I did not see coming. Yesterday, we covered Dan Walks LA when he ran into Joey Rocket, the older gentleman who tried to say that Scientology Audit Streets LA was committing elder abuse or elder stalking or something like that. And that all fell apart. And now Joey Rocket owes something like $150,000 in attorney's fees, I believe. But check this out. You're never going to believe. Well, now you're going to believe it because I just kind of gave it away. Look who Scientology Audit Streets LA ran into.
I got nothing against you and never have had. The only thing.
I've got nothing against you. I never have. Really? You didn't? What was that whole lawsuit and stuff about then? Not lawsuit, but trying to get that elder abuse restraining order.
I was asking you to do was calm down when you were
What is with the stick?
scared some children at the Christmas event. And then you got your cell phone at me and we got off to a horrible start. Honestly, we did. Right?
But the finish has cost you $150,000.
I know. That's the crazy thing, but it's a big misunderstanding.
It's a very big one. It's $150,000.
It's a $150,000 misunderstanding. So, you know, how are we going to end? Because I don't want to have bad feelings about you.
A misunderstanding? Tell me, you guys in the chat, tell me on the live chat, how do you feel about that characterization that it was just a misunderstanding between Joey Rocket here and Scientology Audit Streets LA and Scientology's involvement? I don't know if that's a cane or a stick. I just know Aaron over at Growing Up in Scientology, you got to stay clear of this guy if you go to LA, because it does appear every time, not every time, but I feel like the majority of times Aaron from Growing Up in Scientology goes to Los Angeles, he gets hit with a cane. And look, it's a cane or a stick. Where's Aaron? Is he okay? Are you marked safe from Joey Rocket's cane? Are we okay? That's right. You better keep away from you with that cane. If I were you, I would have a little bit of PTSD from canes. If I see somebody with a cane, I'd be like, oh my gosh, don't come at me. And we don't get to know in the backstory. Most of you know what happened with these canes. Oh, good. Aaron says he's marked safe from Rocket. He is nowhere near the cane. Okay, let's finish this up.
I never did. If you look at the film that we submitted to the judge, just after I got done talking with you, I went over to the police. The first thing I said was, look, can you please calm him down? He's scaring the kids.
5 crime reports.
And then, yeah, because you committed crimes against me, brother.
No crimes. If there are crimes, how come I wasn't
Listen,
arrested?
what is
Exactly. If he committed crimes, why wasn't he arrested? I think it's crimes maybe in his head that they were crimes. Weren't crimes.
District attorney,
what is doing this?
City attorney and the district attorney disagree.
No, William.
But what the judge did say.
No, but you lied to the judge.
But do you know
brother.
the judge? You know the judge
listen,
said.
I understand what you
Everybody's
lied.
fault except for Joe.
No.
Everybody's fault except for Joe's.
William,
But no, I'm going to tell you. But you know what the judge did say?
I'll listen to you.
The judge did say you have to pay $150,000.
Sure.
I'm going to the police station to get a restraining order against them. I don't want to talk to you. Joey, I'm going to get a restraining order against you. I'm going to get a restraining order against Scientology. Joey, come.
Can you believe that? Yes, run, streets, run. I thought that was hilarious. Alexa, play Where's My Money? Oh my my goodness. I think it was the other day, Jamie, just like role reversal there. Like, and you also moving really well than how you showed up in court, Joey. But okay. You can go after him doing some good speed walking, carrying a weapon, which I know normally I would not say a cane is a weapon. But again, case in point, growing up in Scientology. Seems to get hit with canes quite a bit, so it can be. I have a big stick / cane that I keep, and mostly in case I need a weapon. I don't go out with it though. It's a backup in case I can't find my bat in time. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Go Street. Shout out to William Good. Now let's go take a look at another clip from Scientology Audit Streets LA who runs into someone who looks like she saw a ghost. It was just like, boom, this happened so fast. Check this out.
Twilla, how are you doing? Don't run. What are you running for, Twilla? Twilla, how are you doing? Don't run. What are you running for, Twilla?
He slows it down there. Y'all remember Twilla from the Hollywood Testing Center? Yeah. Can you imagine? You show back up because they've been opening the doors more at the Hollywood Testing Center, opening the doors, going outside, tipping a toe out into the public. Can you imagine? They open the door and they go, okay, is he here? Is Dan Walks LA here? Is Scientology Audit Streets LA here? Why am I looking up like he's going to arrive in a helicopter? And then she just closed the door. What happened to the automatic button? She should have just like ran in there and thrown herself in, slid across the floor, and then let Shannon go click on the door. It's not like William Good was going to walk in, right? That's right, Mike. Testing the water. Definitely testing the water. Sweet goth like culty meerkats. We're just going to run. We're going to run in there. Hey, Severed Audi. I love your name. I need to get caught up on Severance. I feel like I'm a couple episodes behind. I'm assuming that's where that comes from. If you guys have Apple TV, you got to watch Severance because it is culty. And a lot of people are talking about the fact that it seems like it might be Scientology inspired. There's a lot of craziness in it, but I love that name. James Steele, you know you're in a Scientology building when there's an ATM in the lobby. That reminds me, today's question of the day. If you haven't answered it in the chat, go ahead. If you're on the replay, jump in those comments. Question of the day, what's a totally normal thing when you really think about it has major cult vibes? I want to know. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think about that. What's a normal thing that kind of has some cult vibes? You know what I'm saying? Oh, excuse me. Life After a Cult. This is Natalie. How can I help you?
Oh my God. Thank God you answered.
Yeah.
I've got you on speaker. I'm so shaky. I can't even hold the phone.
Oh, you
I
know what?
think-
Take a deep breath. We're okay. Just let me know. Are
Okay.
you in a high control group, being love bombed, or have you been given a mandatory tracksuit?
Oh my God. I think I'm in a cult.
What makes you feel that way?
Well, there's a leader. She's
Mhm.
really persuasive. And I mean, she will not take no for an answer. I told her I was just looking, I'm just looking. I don't want a commitment. And now I have a commitment.
Yeah, those are classic manipulation tactics. Are there rules you have to follow?
Oh, yeah, you have to choose and you have to make a contribution. I'm like, once again, I agreed. And now I have to stick to this contribution.
Whoa. Tell me this, though. Do they make you recruit others?
Oh yeah. Bring your friends in. You'll get perks. I mean, that's how they get you in.
Wow, that literally sounds like a multi-level marketing scheme. Are you sure this is a cult, not just a pyramid scheme?
Oh, I think it's worse. They use guilt. If you try to walk away, they're not having it. They are not having it. It says you're not supporting our mission if you decide to, walk away. And that freaked me out.
It would freak me out too. The mission, is this religious?
I don't think so. But I found myself thinking, Jesus, after our encounter, I'm like, thanking Jesus. I mean, it was almost life-changing moment. However, She does wear a uniform and she carries a clipboard.
Oh, a clipboard. That's either military or a PTA mom. What's the group called?
It's called the Girl Scouts.
The Girl Scouts.
Yeah, I blacked out. And when I came to, I had countless boxes of Thin Mints. I made a lifetime commitment to Carmel Delights.
So you're telling me you think you got indoctrinated into a Girl Scout cookie cult?
Oh, without a doubt, it's real. They control people through sugar. I mean, I can't even hold the phone. I got you on speaker. I'm shaking. I mean, it's unbelievable. I watched some guy Venmo a child. And then I found myself, no cash left, doing the same thing.
Wow. Yeah, when you're following along, it could be that's questionable. But okay, so here's the deal. I know they're persuasive, but I promise you're not in a cult.
Aren't they? I spent my last dime on Thin Mints, and now I'm going to be eating Thin Mints for dinner.
Well, I mean, that's a personal choice. No one forced you.
Oh, but who can resist? Could you resist? They had just the smile, all they did, they smiled, they looked at me, they said, would you like to support us? And next thing you know, I'm halfway through a box in the parking lot.
I mean, it sounds addicting. It does. I mean, they are good. I do like the cookies.
Wow. Wait, how do I know you're not part of it?
Excuse me?
I mean, have you ever put your Thin Mints in the freezer?
Well, yeah, of course.
Oh my God. I think you're part of them.
Well, we all fall victim sometimes to Girl Scout cookies, but I assure you, you are not in a cult. You should have a cult-free day.
Oh, I hope so.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.
Oh, 'tis the season, I guess, right? We got to be on the lookout. You got to be on the lookout because those Girl Scout cookies, they are good. I love Sandy so much. Absolutely. Cher says the store brand Thin Mint cookies are just as good. Oh, spilling the tea. The Girl Scouts cult's going to be after you, Cher. Susan Good Grandma says Thin Mint, the Natalie sanctioned cookie. I mean, they are so good. I mean, those Girl Scout cookies, let's be honest. They're dangerous. They are dangerous. Amy Kimball, that's not a cult. That's a dealer for an addict. That's true, Mike Sandoval. They have an oath. They do have an oath. I am wearing a green shirt, though. You guys are right. Yeah, E.S. Gotcher, it's bleeding bad enough. Natalie's getting funnier. Now she's bringing in reinforcements. That's right, Nisa. Yeah, if you don't want to gain any more weight, stay away from those Girl Scout cookies. Good morning, Jesse. Good to see you. All right, now let's go over. We looked at Twilla. We saw what William Good was doing. Now let's go to wait, is this San Francisco or is this Austin? San Francisco. Let's go to San Francisco, where Club Brain Fog, who you can catch live streaming outside San Francisco org, which is a great one to watch because you know what happens. Aaron Cairo, the head of Scientology in San Francisco and the head of Braille Skateboarding, once in a while makes an appearance, and it's kind of funny. But she caught a Scientology recruiter in the act trying to recruit. See, let's watch this and see if you think these guys are picking up what the recruiter is putting down or not.
We have to say that, right? Yeah. Make sure.
And it is quiet because, well, here, let me put the captions on and see if that helps.
How much is it? This depends on what you do. It can be as low as $60. A month? A year? No, per service. Per service. Yeah. Have you seen Tom Cruise?
He asked him if he's seen Tom Cruise.
Not when I've been here. Okay.
Yeah. Say hello on my behalf. And
I love that he's all say hi to Tom Cruise.
good luck with you, Martin.
Hi, Martin.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
From Chile.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. And you? Same?
Crystal, yeah, from Chile as well.
From Chile, yeah. Okay.
I got something to eat for you.
Yeah, I don't have any centers down there. We have, of course, in Colombia and something like that in other countries in
He's letting them know where they can find Scientology in their home country.
South America.
Yeah, to it, maybe.
But you're welcome to come in. You can do the panels. You can click your panels. We do it in your language in Spanish too as well, you know?
Wants them to watch the panels, which are those videos which basically indoctrinate you into believing who L. Ron Hubbard was and what Scientology and Dianetics really is.
Thank you.
I understand you.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys. We're open. Yeah, we're open. You come into about 5. We have to eat.
Yeah, letting them know when they're open. He's trying hard. He is trying hard to get those guys in there. Hey, Dusty, good to see you. They're trying hard. They are. Linda Lou, is he wearing a partial shirt, a new trend? Kind of disturbing. Do you mean the uniform that the recruiter was wearing? That's the usual Scientology vest for staff members. If I was a Scientology staff member, thank goodness they didn't have uniforms back in my day. Can you imagine having to wear that every day? It's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Kelly Copter, aloha, a welcome break. I'm reading some heavy stuff today. No more cover-ups for Scientology. Yes, absolutely. And we cannot wait, Kelly Copter, to see what you are working on. We all wait with bated breath. Can't wait to see. All right, now let's move on to, okay, now we're going to go to Austin. You guys, Scientology in Austin had a brilliant idea in their mind. It's just, how did it work? We got to wake up OSA because I don't know whose idea this was, but somebody needs to be put on rice and beans for this. David Miscavige, wake up your people. It's Saturday, and if you're new to my channel, we try to be a little gentler because the Office of Special Affairs might be sleeping in, doing their laundry. Office of Special Affairs, my lovelies. Check this out. In Austin, was there a meeting? Did they get together? Did a bunch of Scientologists, maybe at management in LA, I don't know where, get together over some rice and beans and go, you know what? I've got an amazing recruiting idea. I know. I have a fantastic idea. People obviously aren't coming in to learn about Scientology or Dianetics, but here's an idea. Let's host an open mic. What could possibly go wrong? We're Scientology. Why wouldn't we host an open mic full of comedians doing open mic, full of randoms off the street doing open mic, comedians? Let's host it at Scientology Austin. What could possibly go wrong? It's a genius idea. I'm sure that they'll all come, these comedians, to, want to learn more about Scientology so they can make jokes at people not in Scientology. Surely that's what they would come for. It would open up their minds. Watch this.
You got in
First, we got this guy who is outside, like letting people come on to the Church of Scientology. We got comedy, we got music.
The child predators, whatever you're looking for.
Then he added in the child predators.
Did you hear that? They are so trolling these people.
Yeah, they're totally trolling them. Because again, Office of Special Affairs, is nobody even paying attention to what people in your orgs across the country and world are doing? You invited a bunch of comedians. Maybe it was singing too for open mic night, but based on what we saw with Miss Kim, it was a lot of comedians. This is a good idea. This is what we're doing now. Oh, it gets better because she actually talks to some of the comedians there. Hold on a second. Am I missing? Where's my Miss Kim? Here we go. She actually has conversations with some of them, and wait till you hear what they say. What could possibly go wrong? Come on, comedians, come into Scientology for open mic. We want to hear what you have to say.
Hello. They try to sell you something?
We're here for comics, the open mic.
They are doing it just to get people to come in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm glad you know that. That's why I'm here. Because they do this kind of stuff just to get. Oh, so you're just trolling them?
Yeah, they just.
All right.
Yeah. We're just.
Cool.
We don't expect.
Do you mind being on camera? I'm live streaming. So these guys are did you get to do the open mic?
Yeah, we just signed up for it. It's
Okay.
gonna be in a bit.
All right.
There's like a bunch of us. There's a few more of us. Like we're all gonna come and probably all get kicked out eventually.
Did you hear that? There's a whole bunch of them that were going in for this open mic and they're probably going to get kicked out eventually. I would pay money to sit in that. Take my money. Take my money. I want to watch comedians at an open mic at a Scientology building, at a Scientology cult location. Please.
Yeah, with Caliber comic showing, yeah, that's just fine.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I'm like, this is the most I've ever seen go in.
Yeah.
Usually I see nobody.
Yeah, we all decided like we're gonna go there.
Yeah, we're doing the comedy.
Yeah, when you're done though, they'll try to. I had a girl just want to go in the cafe, and they followed her into the bathroom to try to get her to buy something.
Followed her into the bathroom to try to get her to buy something. That's crazy. And there's these guys and more there to do comedy at open mic night at Scientology Austin, because that's just such a good idea. What could possibly go wrong for Scientology? That's literally inviting people to roast you on your own property. Can you imagine what's going to happen when they go to do their act? They said they were there to research for content too, for their comedy acts. So not only are they there tonight, but now Scientology has thrown open its doors to these comedians who want to learn about Scientology purely to troll them. This is amazing. Really, I'm just like, I cannot believe it. I don't know whose idea this was, but somebody's going to the gulag, to the rehabilitation project force. Rice and beans for everybody who thought this was a good idea. I cannot wait. Kelly Copter says, how do German Scientologists get their info? A, from Z News. Oh my gosh. Yeah, in Austin. So are they going to do it again? I don't know. Is this going to take off? Are they going to do it in other places? Please, please, I beg of you. Office of Special Affairs. This is a great idea. You should have every Scientology org do open mic night and invite the comedians, especially. Yeah, you should do it in Minneapolis. I would love to go. I mean, they won't let me in the org, but other people I know could go and let us know how it was. It's a great idea. We're loving it. Take my money. Take my money. I'll pay to go. $50 a ticket. You could keep the money. I won't even troll you while I'm in there. I just want to watch. I just want to watch. All right. Now going on to something a bit more that will boil your blood. So be prepared. Gird your loins. This is about to get a little icky. Also from the underground bunker. You guys got to look at this here. Scientology word games, how they rewrote the law to hide child abuse. Here is a picture of kids in a sauna with this adult male doing their purification rundown, sweating out toxins and all of the drugs that these kids have done somehow. Yet they're in Scientology, but they didn't. But you're supposed to do this for that. But toxins in general. In 1997, when the Child Protection Act was updated to require clergy, we're going to cover a lot about this, you guys, but this is kind of where it comes from. So when the Child Protection Act was updated to require clergy as mandated reporters, Scientology had a problem. Up until this point, they had operated under their own internal justice system, where a world where crimes against children were never to be reported to law enforcement as ordered in, quote, policies of convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard. But now, with new legal language explicitly stating that clergy members were required to report child abuse, they needed a way to avoid accountability while still appearing compliant with the law. Enter Claire Headley, a former high-ranking executive of the Religious Technology Center, RTC, the highest governing body of Scientology. According to her sworn testimony, the organization didn't just ignore the law. They actively worked to rewrite their internal policies to obscure it. Instead of complying with the law, they removed the specific legal language referring to mandated reporting and replaced it with euphemisms, vague, sanitized phrases designed to confuse, mislead, and protect the abusers rather than the kid victims. Mike Rinder, in charge of the Office of Special Affairs and Legal in 1997, spent his time in Scientology hiring the best of the best attorneys to advise him and the Office of Special Affairs. When he left, he went out. Wait, this doesn't make sense. Let me start over. Mike Rinder, in charge of OSA and legal in 1997, spent his time in Scientology hiring the best of the best attorneys to advise him and OSA. When he left, he went out there pretending he was whistleblowing. And meanwhile, where was his claim of ignorance about how the law worked in terms of mandated reporters? Okay, I don't know why this paragraph is not making full sense to me, you guys, but that's what it says. I got to go back. I must have a misunderstood word. I need a word clearer. Where's my misunderstood word? I need to look it up in multiple dictionaries and use it in sentences. He left Scientology, had 2 kids, and as a parent never brought up the fact that there were no mandated reporters inside the Scientology hotels. It's giving guilty of, oh, you know what? I'm reading Serge's thing, not the underground bunker. My bad. Hold on, you guys. This is from literally Serge. The whole orange circle threw me off. This is from literally Serge. Okay, it makes more sense to me now. Instead of complying with the law, they removed the specific legal language referring to mandated reporting and replaced it with euphemisms, vague, sanitized phrases. So Mike Rinder was in charge of OSTA then and hired the best of the best attorneys to how do we do this? If we don't use these terms, then we don't need to report. Or at least that was the thought. It's giving guilty of conscience. It's giving willful ignorance of the law because admitting what he done exposed to the very real legal liability for violating mandated reporter law. So this is the interesting thing. And look at these. I mean, these are young kids in a sauna. What young kids? I mean, how many toxins can you have? And Serge says here, forced to spend hours in a sauna alongside unrelated random adults under the guise of purification. So Scientology has been changing the language when it comes to SA happening in Scientology. It gets sanitized. They use different words. Does it matter to you? Not to me. Nat, I want it in clay. Every derivation. No, seriously. They changed the wording. It's no longer right SA or the R word. It's in quotes out 2D, out second dynamic. And the second dynamic in Scientology, it's like your family. It has to do with sex. So they changed the terminology, thinking, well, if we don't use the trigger words, then we don't have to report it. When that mandated reporter law doesn't apply. They're wrong about this. They're wrong about this. And we're going to look at a few things that really point this out. Let's look at a clip from Growing Up in Scientology in a video called Scientology Will Be Criminally Prosecuted. This is going to explain it more. Listen to this.
Because usually Scientology is trying to lie in the direction of they're lying about how religious they are. We're very religious. Oh my God, this is scripture and it's a faith, and it's all a lie because that's not how Scientologists think. It's funny because in this case of Canra, in order to get around the charges and the accusations, they're almost going to have to argue it the other way. What? Clergy members are mandated reporters? What? You thought Sea Org members were clergy members? What gave you that idea? Don't use our own words against us. You thought we were serious when we said Sea Org members were the clergy members? No, we were not serious. We were kidding. No. So Scientology can only, well, first of all, I'm saying how they would argue against this. They're going to.
Yeah, because again, in Scientology, think about the staff members and the Sea Org members. We were always told, well, they're religious workers. Yeah. No, we don't have to pay them. They're religious workers. Oh, yeah. Being in the Sea Org is like, being in the priesthood, right? Or being a nun. Yes, except you can get married. They're religious workers. They're clergy. This is scripture. You said it. You said it, Scientology. You said it.
Argue that this person's not a mandated reporter. That person's not a mandated reporter. An ethics officer is not a mandated reporter. But the truth is, it doesn't matter because auditing files and ethics files, it doesn't matter who wrote the report, what state it was in, when it was done. Eventually, all auditing files and all ethics files eventually get reviewed by someone at the advanced org, which is either in Clearwater or in LA. And because Clearwater is so expensive, Flag is so expensive, most Scientologists do their upper level services in Los Angeles. Eventually, a person's auditing files and ethics files get reviewed by a Sea Org member, who a case supervisor, a high level case supervisor, who would absolutely, without question, be considered, would meet any reasonable definition or expectation of what is a clergy member in Scientology.
Exactly. This is something that I just don't know. It's just going to backfire on them completely, because you can't have it both ways. You can't say they're religious workers, they're clergy, and then say, what? Clergy, religious workers? What are you talking about? No, they're not, mandated reporters. What are you saying? Marcy. Aloha for gifting 5 Life After Occult memberships. Thank you so much. Everybody who gets one, please give a big aloha and mahalo to Marcy and Jessica. Aloha. Thank you so much for the super sticker. All right, what is a Scientology testing center? Jessica, that's a fantastic question. In Scientology, they have these organizations where they set up sometimes a smaller location to do the personality tests and IQ tests. It's basically a recruitment center. Like they have one in Clearwater. It's called the Scientology Information Center. They don't do a ton of recruiting there. That's more like a public relations. This is who we are. But there's the Hollywood Testing Center, would fall under that. They're just there to get people off Hollywood Boulevard and sell them books and auditing and get them to do courses. And sometimes within the organization itself, they have an area that they might call the testing center. That's where they bring in new people. And new people, Scientology calls them raw meat, to come in and do these tests so that they can then recruit them into Scientology. That's how that works there. Now let's go over to Down the Rabbit Hole News. Rabbit and literally Serge did a fantastic video also talking about this. This is a very big deal, and it's a very important piece of the puzzle. Listen to this.
How does this is what I don't understand, right? Because the mandated reporters laws, and they all vary, from state to state, but ultimately what it says is, if you are in a position where you're having proximity to children, be a doctor, a janitor, a commissioner, whatever your position may be, especially in leadership, daycares, things like that. Hell, even a McDonald's employee could be a mandated reporter. If they're working at the kiddie playground, like it just depends on that, right? How does an institution or a cult, how does this thing get away from that? Like, how do you get away from people go to jail over this? I've heard so many stories of people going to jail even for not reporting suspected abuse. So how does that happen that this cult gets away from that? I guess I'm confused by that. Explain that to me.
Well, number one is because they're completely insulated, right?
Okay.
And all of their victims, all of us, have minimum education levels. I mean, I have 7th grade is the last grade that I ever completed in school. Again, where was the mandated reporter saying, oh, we have a child here that only completed the 7th grade. Why isn't he going to school? Even that's illegal, right? But again,
yes,
you're stuck at a hotel where, as everyone that's been protesting Scientology knows, you cannot enter Scientology to see what's going on. You have
Very true. I'm going to link this down below. If you did not catch this interview of the two of them, check it out. Check it out. And then literally Serge did another video that we're going to highlight here, where he called it How OSA, the Office of Special Affairs, Controls This YouTube Community. And he has a very strong and powerful message, delivering it as only literally Serge can. It's very important. It's very relevant. Let's take a look at a clip from that.
Is true about how her fellow Scientologists had once beaten her up.
So he's listening to an older report about, well, you just heard it, a Scientologist who had fellow members actually assault her.
The Guardian's office got Andrea to sign a statement calling the story a lie.
The Guardian's office beating a woman up. So that's the Scientology people. That's the type of stories that they're burying. Women getting beaten and then they bury the story, right? That's the OSA op.
and they threaten.
Bury the story, bury the crime, distract from the crimes against children being denounced, because we have a community that is so easy to distract, because we have a bunch of influencers that are so easy to make it about themselves and distract from the message. And this community is thirsty, apparently very, very thirsty. Let's all just really reward the most messy, the most off message, the most one day is this, the next day is that. They just continue to react and react and react, and they're nothing but reactive people on a YouTube, exploding on their feelings, exploding on their adult problems. Well, we're not here to talk about our adult problems. We're here to educate our community so you understand why this movement matters. Why?
I think it's a total mic drop. I'm going to link that video too. I mean, he's right. He is right. There's too much of that going on and not enough. Look what Scientology is doing. And the Office of Special Affairs, I know you might be doing your laundry, but listen up. Actually, you're probably not doing your laundry. It's an important message, and it's true. It's like it's so important to recognize that this is what Scientology does. It's why the Office of Special Affairs exists. Not everything said and done that creates issues is because of the Office of Special Affairs. They are a small part of it, but what they're really good at doing is setting people on fire and creating outrage and rage bait and things like that to distract people when they're so upset about this over here that they're no longer talking about kids in Scientology. They're no longer talking about the abuses. They're no longer talking about the abusive practices, disconnection, breaking up families, covering up crimes. That is no longer the focus that way. Now you're over here talking about this person has an upset with this person and whatever. I get it. Have your upsets. But that's not what many of us are here for. We're here to expose Scientology. And those things are going to happen. They happen in every community, right? But maybe pick up the phone and talk to somebody and figure it out. Or fine, you don't get along, then don't get along. But still, if you are here to help expose and educate about high control groups and Scientology and cult, then by all means, keep doing it. I thought it was a great message, and I love Serge's delivery about that as well. Let's see. Buckled up Buttercup. Aaron brings folks in. Natalie keeps them up to date. Streets and the protesters keep the doors closed. Serge reminds us why we are all here. Great job this week, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words. That was very nice of you to say. A cute pumpkin clodhopper. So Scientology under Mike Rinder changed policy to hide sexual abuse from the authorities. Got it. Yes, that happened, and it's been going on for a long time. Kelly Copter says counselors are also mandated reporters. So even if we were not a tax-exempt religion, they would still be mandated reporters. Yeah. So when I was in the Sea organization right before I left, I've shared with you guys my experience of SA and how Scientology covered it up. Years later, because I still stayed in Scientology after that. I wasn't ready yet to leave or, leave my family. And honestly, I was in a bad place after as a traumatizing experience like that would put you in a bad place. And then add to it your church, and I put that in quotes, blames you. What were you wearing? Did you say something to him? You must have done something. Were you 2D flowing him? Yeah. That's what they do. That's what they say. When years later, when I was doing my preparations for the operating Thetan levels, this came up in a Scientology auditing session. It's something that I was upset about because it happened. They switched auditors so fast because I wasn't with a Sea Org auditor at that point. My auditor at that time was not a member of the Sea organization. This was nobody with any kind of special clearances or anything. Next thing I know, I'm getting a Sea Org auditor because they didn't want me talking about this as somebody who was public. It's just all continues to be part of the cover up. It's very real. It's very, very real. And they've been doing this for decades. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think y'all gonna get away with that anymore. Not anymore. Now, let me see here. I don't want to miss too many of these. Our question of the day was, what's a totally normal thing that when you really think about it has major culty vibes? Jump in with that. We're going to go through some of those in just a minute, but I wanted to bring your attention to something that someone sent me that this was, I think it was in 1990 that this came out, this article. It is so relevant today. It was June 29th, 1990. On the offensive against an array of suspected foes. So again, this is from Scientology. This is about Scientology. But when you read this, they could be writing this today. It's pretty long, but we're going to go over a few highlights. Never treat a war like a skirmish. Treat all skirmishes like wars. L. Ron Hubbard. Because remember, he said, never defend, always attack. The cult of Scientology, now it says church, but I'm too far in this video to say church. We're on to cult. The cult of Scientology does not turn the other cheek. Ministers mingle with private detectives. Sacred scriptures counsel the virtues of combativeness. Parishioners double as paralegals for litigious church attorneys. Almost said it. Cult attorneys. Consider the passage that a prominent Scientology minister selected from the religion scriptures authored by the late L. Ron Hubbard to inspire the faithful during a gala church event. And this minister, quoting Hubbard, said, "People attack Scientology. I never forget it. Always even the score." That's L. Ron Hubbard. The crowd cheered. As far back as 1959, Hubbard warned that illness and even death can befall those seeking to impede Scientology, known within the cult as suppressive persons. Think about that statement there. This is what Scientologists are indoctrinated to believe. Illness and even death can befall those seeking to impede Scientology. And you're going to end up being called the suppressive person. This is all part of the control. That's why I'm saying this is so applicable even today. Literally, it kills them, Hubbard wrote. And if you don't believe me, I can show you the long death list. Oh, you leave Scientology and you're going to die is what pretty much it sounds like. And that's what many of us were indoctrinated to believe. Our lives are going to cave in. We're going to cave in. It's all going to cave in and we're going to die or get super sick. All these horrible things are going to happen if you leave Scientology. That is nothing but straight up coercive control and manipulative, emotional manipulation, all of the things. And as an example to back that up, Hubbard shared a story of an electrician who went against Scientology. And L. Ron Hubbard said, within a few weeks, Hubbard said, he contracted TB. So he actually used examples of people getting sick and ill and making it sound like, oh, that's because they were speaking out against Scientology. There is nothing more culty. This is the exact coercive control that ends up happening. Can you imagine being a member and you start having doubts like, oh, I don't like that I'm paying all this money. I don't like that my kids are in the Sea Org and I never get to see them. And you start having doubts and thinking about leaving. This is the handling. Hey, just so you know, you might get TB. And what is L. Ron Hubbard threatening people all the time with getting sick? If you read the upper level operating Thetan level 3 materials before you're ready for it, you could get pneumonia and die. It's no wonder that my brain is so extreme sometimes in thinking. I go right from I stub my toe to, oh my God, I might get addicted to heroin. Big gap there. But I think in terms of extremes like that, and it's something I still deal with, I reframe that because I have tools to do that. It was so soaked into us that we would get sick, die, or have horrible things happen if we left Scientology. I've talked to so many former members too, who have had that feeling and were afraid to leave because they make it seem so real. Can you put that? We had not one, but 2 John Travolta sightings last night. That's awesome, Dusty. That's right. In Clearwater, they were doing some protesting. I'm going to clip some of those and I'll share them on Monday, but it looked awesome. I jumped on there at one point. It was so great to see so many people out there. So that article from 1990, there's one more part. It's really long. I'm going to find a way to link this down below. This is the end part here. In 1987, they elevated to high doctrine a warning he wrote. This is L. Ron Hubbard, 2 decades ago in a Scientology newspaper addressed to people who seek to stop us. Quote, if you oppose Scientology, we promptly look up and will find and expose your crimes, he wrote. If you leave us alone, we will leave you alone. It's very simple. Even a fool can grasp that. And don't underrate our ability to carry it out. Those who try to make life difficult for us are the ones at risk. They put that in a Scientology newspaper. Now today, Scientology likes to try to like hide and be like, oh no, we're not doing that. The fair game policy got canceled. No, it didn't. You're just doing it behind the scenes. You're trying to cover it up more because this is how they work. This is totally what they do. Now I want to grab some responses to that, our question of the day. What's a totally normal thing that when you really think about it has major cult vibes? And if you're in the on the replay, please jump in those comments. Marcy says religion in general at times. Mama Opal says, my son just pointed out something funny. Timeshare presentations are kind of like a cult. I get that. What is happening with my hair there? Just sticking right up. Must be dry. Let's see. Question of the day. Cheryl says, snobby Starbucks ordering. I don't understand the lingo. Great gig in the sky. MLMs like Lularoe. I agree. Mock says, being supposed to allow dehumanizing lies stand just because a person in authority said it and would be upset to be corrected on. Yeah, absolutely. Catherine Churchill, the natural medicine space. I believe in many natural remedies, but also believe there's a space for modern medicine. I wouldn't be alive without it. I agree. I've gotten a lot of benefit from modern medicine and from functional medicine as well. Everybody's got to find their right vibe with that. Let's see. Some of the Jared Leto comments too are funny. Where did it go? Christy says he's known for giving weird gifts to his co-stars like dead rats and stuff like that. Yeah, that video talked about that too. Martial art classes. Interesting, the boobologist. I would not have thought of that. Maybe you can elaborate. That's interesting. Audrey, yep, churches are super culty. They can be. Jessica, so if you're a Scientologist and a sexual predator, do you have to register or is there a religious exemption for it? Scientology is not trying to, if somebody already is, yes, you have to legally, but would Scientology enforce it? I don't think so. I don't. What are they going to say? Hey, Joe, we know about your crimes and the trouble you got in. Did you register? No, they're more likely to say, hey, we need some volunteers to watch these kids while their parents are in this event. Could you help out? And they don't tell other Scientologists. They don't tell them. Julie O'Connell says Jazzercise has cult vibes. That's interesting. I've never done Jazzercise. Jazzercise. Interesting indeed. And hey, Joe Virus, I saw you go flying by. Hey, Jazz. Reprise 53 says, in every single group, you can find cult characteristics. It's a lot of shades of gray. In my opinion, best to look at results. I agree. There are a lot of things. That's part of why I get so many calls on the Life After a Cult hotline. There are similarities sometimes. And I think also we got to not get too carried away where everything is a cult. I have to do that myself. As growing up and being in a high control group like that for such a long period of time makes me really weary. Like, oh, I don't know. I don't know about this. Peloton, Xiao Yun Smut says Peloton has some culty vibes. I get that too. James Steele says being a Leeds United fan is like a cult because you can never leave. Sandy McKenna, that's right. They lure you in with samples. Those dang Girl Scouts. Absolutely. Joe Virus says, in answer to the question of the day, is my fan club, his fan club. They're a little culty. So the boobologist says, elaboration on the question of the day. Martial arts, you have a lingo, true, a uniform, True. And you dedicate yourself to it. There are ranks and a hierarchy. I was a martial artist for 15 years, culty at times. Interesting. Didn't think about it like that, but yes. Old Fritz says, well, alohatology, of course. Well, I guess I would be a charismatic leader. The difference is y'all don't need to listen to me. Do what you want. That's why we have the motto here at alohatology of you do you, boo. You do you. I'm going to do me because that's all I can control. You do you. Thank you guys so much. Oh, wait. There's something I wanted to share with you. I forgot. Hold on. You're not going to believe. I was going through a bunch of old files, paperwork from my Tony to see what I have to keep, what I can shred. And when I was going through a lot of that, I found a letter. This is from a Scientologist written to me when I was still in Scientology, but secretly under the radar. This was 2009. First, note the size of the paper. My Scientology friends, former members, you will recognize this. Scientology auditing is done on legal size paper. I actually forgot about that till I saw this again. So this is someone who knows me, who is on the ship, the Free Winds. And when you go to the ship or you go to Florida, if you're on a certain operating thetan levels, or let's be honest, anytime you're being interrogated or security checked, if something comes up that you share about other people, you have to go handle them. That now somehow becomes your job, because Scientology seems to breed that over sense of it's my duty to right all these wrongs and get ethics in on the planet, because that's what they think. So here it is. It was actually written on July 4th, 2009. Hey, Nat, happy 4th of July. This is from a Scientologist who knew me. And again, I was 1 year into my 2-year plan to depart Scientology, but no one knew. Probably you are down at the lake watching fireworks right now. I'm on the ship. And the ship, she means the Free Wind ship. I'm having a very productive and good trip. Scientology is all about production. You got to be producing. You got to be producing and creating a product. On the ship, I'm having we read that. Right now, I'm wrapping up some cycles on my eligibility. So when you get a security check in Scientology, you get given steps you need to do so that you are accepted onto an operating thetan level, so that you are eligible for any of these confidential levels. So she was being interrogated and some stuff came up that she needs to handle to be eligible. And apparently that means writing me a 2-page letter by hand. So she's on the ship. One thing that came up for me was and this is written in cursive, so what is this one word? Was some of the out of the box columns. So back then, I worked for a local publication. I wrote a column called Outside the Box. I would do things that pushed me outside my comfort level in our community, and I would write about it. It was called Outside the Box. So my columns from Outside the Box came up in her interrogation, and now she has to handle me to be eligible for her next service. I didn't live with this woman. I wasn't married to her. She's not in my family. She's not in my house. But somehow a column I write or wrote, I get a 2-page letter for it, because Scientology's like, you need to handle that, Natalie. Let's see. So she does say, though, that it's funny, corny, and uninhibited antics of former Mrs. Excelsior. I was once Mrs. Excelsior. That would be you, girlfriend. I had the consideration that being somewhat of an operating thetan in town, so me, because I was operating thetan level 4 at this time, I had the consideration that being somewhat of an operating opinion leader, and then comes operating thetan. I had the consideration that being somewhat of an opinion leader in town, not to mention an operating thetan. So she's saying that because people listen to me, because I write this column, it makes me like a thought leader, right? Which I get that. And an operating thetan, because I had done operating thetan level 4. So somewhat of an opinion leader in town, not to mention an operating thetan. It gives credibility to strip pole dancing. Because remember, I told you guys, I did a class once called Strip Fitness. It was at a gym. It would empty out of men and it would only be women. And we would do this class with music on poles. It was fun. Everybody stayed dressed. It was phenomenal exercise. It really was. And I wrote about it. I wrote about it in my column that I did a strip fitness class and I really enjoyed it. She's saying that my doing it and writing about it gives credibility to strip pole dancing. And I don't know if she just like, what does she mean? But listen to I'm going to read this whole part again. Not to mention, so being somewhat of an opinion leader in town, not to mention an operating thetan, it gives credibility to strip pole dancing. Diva shots, to name the columns. I don't even remember one about diva. Oh, hell, I just remembered what that was. Diva shots. She's talking about the boudoir photos I did and wrote about too for the paper. Not naked, just sexy. Plus, I mean, back then, how old was I? I was in my late 30s. Natalie, you wild one. Mock, that's right. I'm just over here doing strip fitness and diva shots. Okay, they're called boudoir photos, first off. And it was fun. And I'm literally forcing my children to use them when I die. This is the picture I want with my obituary. Me in a little boobs pushed up, kind of fur-looking jacket, looking all cute. So basically, I was giving credibility to strip pole dancing, diva shots, to name the columns. I think it's not the most therapeutic thing to do. For example, putting attention on how to be a better, sexier body. What's wrong with that? You don't have to, but if you want to have a better, sexier body, okay. Why is this a threat to Scientology? Remember, this is not even someone who was a best friend. I just knew her from Scientology. This came up in her interrogations. This is insane. Just a thought. This is the best part. Here are some references you can read over. This bitch is now telling me to go read the L. Ron Hubbard on this. She wrote a list. HCOPL, 18 October 1979, Viewpoint. Another one called WTH, which is not what the hell. It's actually short for withhold. An open letter to all clears. That's also the name of a reference that I need to read. You're a very fun writer and write good pieces. I look forward to getting back to work. I can't believe I kept it. But I was just amazed when I found it going through those. But that really, this is gives you insight into the mind of a Scientologist and Scientology, where they feel they get to dictate every little thing that you do and decide and tell you what is moral or not moral. I mean, totally right. Verdant. Yep. People have some nerve. Brian, from a poet, this woman has major issues. Greggy Metalhead, I thought this would be a friendly letter, not them throwing shade. Yeah, no. Paula, you were living in her head rent free. No kidding. This is even, it's not like I sent her the photos. Hey, check this out. What she wrote me up for were things I literally wrote in a column that nobody would think about. Nobody would think twice about it. Paralyzed to Paralyzed says, I think she was sweet on you, Natalie. Oh my gosh. James Steele, I'm going to search the internet for Natalie pole dancing. I think I have some photos of it, but there's no video. It was back in the day where, we weren't, I don't think you could even, no, maybe there were iPhones by then. I didn't have one at that time. Yes, Sandy McKenna, Scientology turns even the most benign things into something nefarious. Oh, what a crime. What a crime that I want to be healthy. What a crime that I want to look sexy. What a crime that I'd want to feel sexy, that I'd want to take back my own sexiness, especially considered what I had gone through before the SA. This was me breaking out of that. Oh, I'm getting a little emotional. I guess I didn't put those two things together. When I did that class, it was right before I'd already decided I was leaving and I was working on my family. And it just sounded like something because by this time, I realized that my essay that happened and was covered up and where I was made to feel it was my fault, that it wasn't my fault. And this was part of my healing, as was those pictures. They were for my husband. And I guess halfway, well, not the internet, because oh no, was my column online? For the paper, for the people in my community. There's nothing wrong with that. But obviously I still, carry some of that. I think what upsets me is this is the level of control that they think they can have on you, and you can't do anything that might take your power back. It's not like Scientology didn't know what happened to me. She didn't know. She didn't know because I hadn't told anybody but my own family at that point. Eileen, I think maybe one was posted in the article, but it was something that my children could see. It wasn't even over the top, but it was sexy. And hey, I got to tell you, back in my 30s, I was quite sexy. It's not my fault. But to me, to try to shame, especially this was written by a woman, a friend in Scientology who is a little bit older than I am. In 2009, trying to shame me for taking a strip fitness class and doing boudoir photos. I'm glad I did them because I got them. And now when I'm 95 and dead, that's what's going to be out there. I'm going to release them all on the internet. Joe Virus says she low-key wanted to pole dance with you. I know she did. She totally did. Mock says, so was it too much or too little lace for her? Love that. Old Fritz says, forever haunted by that strip fitness class, Natalie. I know. It's like Scientology is a thing they have brought up so much about me, like it's some secret. I'm like, I wrote about it in the paper. I don't know what you guys think is happening. Did you respond to the letter? Hell no, I didn't respond to the letter. I'm not even sure I saw her. I was gone. So this was July 2009. I was gone by January 1st, 2010. So I'm like, whatever. Thank you, Marcy. It was not your fault. I appreciate that. Thank you guys for the ones too. I love you. I appreciate that. Julie, I'm glad you're here and going back to the beginning. Verdant Square Network. The problem was hers. Your healing journey is nothing but inspiring. I appreciate that. Joe Raz and her alien dog. Natalie, you were taking back control of your own body in your own way. Yes, I was. I'm surprised that this upsets me now. Honestly, I didn't expect that. I will have to go analyze this later. Joe Raz and her. Oh, I did that one. Thank you. A cute pumpkin clodhopper. You're still sexy. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I do. A cute pumpkin clodhopper. We saw you in that bathing suit in your cold plunge. You still get it, girl. You still got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. SP Pillow Talk says, Natalie, me, you, and Cheryl got to do some goofy strip fitness class dressed as Xenu and body things. It would be awesome. I agree. I'm for it. Although I don't know if I have the upper body strength to do that. It really takes a lot. James Steele, you're right. Healing takes a lifetime of work. That is true. That is true. Mock says they make it sound like you pose naked for the world, which would, even if you did, so what? Exactly. Yeah. I would always covered up. They were tastefully sexy. Verdant, yeah, when did sexy become a bad thing? It's part of that purity culture in Scientology. This is a public Scientologist too. Remember, I was a public Scientologist. I didn't go do this as a Sea Org member, which I could understand more if I was a Sea Org member doing it. It's still none of their effing business, but I can see how they might have a little bit more to say about that, even though they still shouldn't. Sandy McKenna, hold on a second, you flew by. Excellent point. Scientology's specialty, shame and blame. Exactly. They want to make sure that you're so introverted by what happened to you when it comes to SA that you feel so much shame. You know what? Fuck it. I'm not even going to try not to cry. I'm going to get my Kleenex. We're just going to do this. They make you feel so much shame that you don't talk about it, that you don't tell anyone because it was your fault, is what they say. And that's what happened with me. And then somebody from Senior HCO, the Hubbard Communications Office, and some of you are familiar with this story, came down when I was under 24/7 watch by security because I wanted to leave the Sea Org, and told me that if I never speak of this, if I don't go to the police, I didn't even go to a doctor, that they would let me leave the Sea Org without doing the long routing form, without going through the interrogations, without any of that. I would leave technically in good standing. Think of it like an honorable discharge in a way, but not at all like that. And I said yes, because I knew what would happen if I didn't leave properly. And I wasn't yet ready to leave when this happened. It would be many more years before I got to the point. And with the help of people, never in Scientology, it was one woman who I met when I was doing when she refers to Mrs. Excelsior, I did the Mrs. Minnesota pageant as part of my outside the box stuff. I thought this will push me outside my comfort zone. I don't wear heels. I don't do any of this. This would be fun. And I met a woman who her platform, because each of us had a cause that we were platforming, was RAIN, which helps SA survivors. And she's the first person that I told. And I told her what happened, and I told her what was said to me, and I kind of had an attitude that it was somehow my fault. And she totally helped me straighten that out and see that it wasn't. And that was the part of the beginning of helping me see how I needed to leave. I was going to leave. I wanted to leave. And that was part of it. And so yes, the shame, the whole thing is part of how they control you. And they thought that if they could make me think it was my fault, that I wouldn't say anything. And you know what? They were right. I didn't say anything I was 21 when it happened. I didn't say anything until I was 40 or turning 40, 39 or so when I told my mom, when I finally told her. And then knowing that was part of what helped my mother leave Scientology. And she told me, I wish you would have told me 20 years ago. And I don't know if she would have been ready to leave at that point anyways. But if we can blame shame somebody enough, we know they'll stay quiet. They'll stay quiet about it. I don't feel any shame about it today because it wasn't my fault. So suck it, Scientology. Because not only am I talking about that now, I'm talking about everything. And I'm going to get back to writing my book. So you just wait for that, because it's not even the whole story. I haven't even talked about all of it yet. We have barely scratched the surface. And now I'm here on YouTube doing it, working on making a living at doing that, which, by the way, reminder, hit that like, check your subscribe. And thank you guys for your kind words here. Marcy, yes, Scientology doesn't want you to feel good about yourself. Bella notes, watching someone heal in real time is amazing and encouraging. Thank you, Nat, for sharing authentically. I appreciate that. I hate crying online, but I'm getting so much more comfortable with it. Sharona, watching Natalie realize she was actually taking back her power is everything. I knew what that felt like when I wanted to do it. But again, I didn't realize till I read this letter now and putting it all together that you're right. That was exactly it. That's what I was trying to do. And look what happens. No, we got to keep her back under control. Does it matter to you? Not to me. Where is your havingness invalidated in someone else's qualifications for the upper levels? Exactly. She's not the one doing strip fitness and taking boudoir photos. But because she knows that I am and I'm an operating thing, she's got to say something about it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Verdant, Scientology doesn't want you to feel, only to obey and pay up. You're totally right. Jess, good to see you. Purity culture stripped of divine gift of sacred sex. Abominable. Agreed. Hey, Don Gloves. Sharona, and they shouldn't have even shamed her if she was actually taking that type of pole dancing class. Exactly. It's none of their business. Up Mayo says that controlling sexuality is another big cult thing, big with JWs and LDS too. I believe that completely. Joe Virus says victim blaming a-holes, they need to go away. Agree. SP Pillow Talk, there's nothing wrong with crying, Natalie. It's part of healing. I appreciate that. Chalian Smut, you guys throw some hearts in love for her. She just lost her stepdad recently and she was helping to care for him. We love you. Sending you just a lot of hugs, girl. Mock says coercive systems are about sexualizing you, but hate nothing more than you owning your sexuality and sensuality. Exactly. You know who really appreciated those photos and the fact that I did a strip fitness class? Tony. Sweet Goth. Yeah, things hit us like a ton of bricks sometimes. Feel how you feel. I appreciate that. Amy, thank you. Big hugs and love to you. You're amazing. That's right, Sandy McKenna. You won, Nat. You won. A cute pumpkin clodhopper. So sorry they brainwashed you into believing you should be blamed in order to keep you from leaving. Exactly. They knew I wanted to leave. That's the whole idea. Let's get her so introverted and messed up that she can't think straight. And she can't think enough. She can't have enough of the wherewithal to leave. And it worked. It worked for years. That's how I know how dangerous it is. Because it happened to me. Greggy, thank you so much.
Aloha.
Natalie, you're the real MVP. I appreciate that. That's very sweet. Katie Fulton, shame is the most destructive tactic to someone's healing. It makes me sick. Babe, I'm right there with you for my own reasons. It's not your fault. I'm so glad you had the classes and photos. Yeah, me too. I should send this woman one of the photos. I probably have her address somewhere unless she moved. Amy says, I took strip fitness classes. There are a lot of women for those classes that learn to take their confidence back. And it's wonderful to be a part of that. I agree. I found it to be very, very empowering. Joe Virus says, love you, Natalie. You have an army behind you. I appreciate that. Skyfire, thank you. And thank you for being here. AJ Powers, new subscriber, but I've watched for a while. Love your maturity and vulnerability. AJ Powers, I appreciate that. And thank you. I know we have a lot more. We get new people all the time in the channel. I appreciate you being here. And please ask any and all questions. If I don't catch it in a live stream, you can always email me, Natalie@lifeafteraccult.com, or a moderator or someone else in the chat can answer too. Mock says you're probably so going to that nude beach now. Yeah, as soon as I find one. Very possible. Skipper and the geriatric chihuahua. Wonder Woman Natalie. I appreciate that. I really do. I do. It's none of their business. Exactly, Katie Fulton. It's none of their business. But thank you guys so much for your support, your kind words. I truly, really do appreciate it. I do. Again, hit that like, check your subscribe. I'm going to talk to you all soon. And in the meantime, I hope you have an amazing cult-free day.